Hello, and a warm welcome to everyone. I want to wish everyone a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Samantha from Safeopedia, and here at Safeopedia, it is our mission to support you, the EH&S professionals, operational folks, and any safety-minded individuals with free safety information, tools, and education. I want to give you a huge shout out and a thank you for doing all of the great work on a daily basis and keeping us and our workplaces safe. And again, thank you for attending. Today, we are proud to present sorbent solutions in utilities, transportations, and public services fields. The Safeopedia webinar has been made possible today by Meltblown Technologies, a preferred manufacturer member of AD Safety Network. AD, Together We Win. Today, Scott Bakewell of Meltblown Technologies is going to provide you with insight on sorbent applications as well as give you practical solutions for your challenges on the job site. I am very excited to have you sit back, relax, and enjoy this presentation. With that, Scott, let's jump into it.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you for having us, and thank you everybody for joining today. Kevin, thank you for the support from within Meltblown to put this together. And folks, I just wanted to kind of frame this out a little bit. This isn't going to be a long presentation, but again, when we're talking about spill control or sorbent uses across the board, a lot of folks think about, well, those are used in a factory or to clean up a spill in an aisleway. Not always just the case. Utilities, transportation, public service sectors are heavily focused on for maintenance and environmental issues. So you want to have these types of products on hand for any kind of use, whether it be regular maintenance or response to a spill or some sort of storm or something like that. So with that, we're going to go through a couple scenarios, talk a little bit about the product and what to look for, and give you some ideas that you might be thinking about when you're working your everyday environment. So again, Meltblown Technologies, sorbent uses in the utility, transportation, and public service sector. Again, sorbents in spill control are not just useful in the industrial space, but in the environmental space, the outdoor space, many sectors of business. Today, we're focusing mainly on the utilities, transportation, public service sector. So when you're thinking about it, and you may be working in these spaces, or you may be managing people in these spaces, or possibly have clients in these spaces, it's very important to kind of understand that they need to keep their area clean, safe from environmental issues with chemicals, oils, and lubricants that could disrupt the environment or even cause a slip and fall or something to a person or a piece of equipment, injury or damage. The utility market, so electric, gas generation, is one of the biggest markets for sorbents here in the United States. I think a lot of people overlook that because it's not that well seen. But if you think about all the maintenance that's done around the power generation lines, transformers, whether they be pole transformers or ground mounted transformers, or the equipment being used to maintain these, there's a lot of opportunity for spills and leaks. So this is an area where we focus with our distributor partners to provide the right product and solution to keep the areas clean and safe and clear of environmental issues. When you're thinking about maintenance, regular maintenance and sorbents or spill control in the utility sector, think about these things. You know, the facilities such as power plants, water treatment facilities, gas companies, they often handle a lot of materials like oils, chemicals, and fuels, right? So all of those areas are going to require some sort of spill plan or regular maintenance plan to keep the areas clear of environmental or safety issues. Sorbents are key in storm response. Rain, snow, hurricane, tornado, all cause damage to equipment and will need spill response. So if you think about the last few years, the amount of damaging storms we've had here in the US, there's been a lot of issues around transformers leaking into the groundwater, causing tremendous amount of damage. Sorbents are used to certainly respond to storms and damaged equipment, but also in regular maintenance when a crew may be taking a transformer down, if we're using a transformer as an example, and containing it to bring it back to a shop to work on. You know, again, utilities are subject to strict environmental and safety regulations, and they're also very high profile. So these are all areas that are concerns, especially when maintaining or responding to a situation in the field. So when you're thinking about it and you're working in these areas, be sure to check to make sure you have the right product in place. And if not, refer it back to your distributor that handles these products, and they can help you with it and get us involved. Again, some types of utilities: electric, water, waste, and gas. In this photo, you're seeing a ground mount transformer that's actually on a concrete slab. And in this area here, around the base of it, we would probably use absorbent pads to kind of line that area in case any of these components started to leak. And they are to be changed out periodically, probably on the monthly basis. Some types of sorbents that are used in applications for outdoor cleanup, especially with electrical utility, would be pads to put under equipment that is leaking to catch leaks and drips. Booms or socks to contain an area that there already may be fluid leaking. Stop them, and that helps stop the fluid from spreading to other areas or waterways. And in case it has already reached the waterway, it may be a way to absorb it and help contain it just to a small area. We also have a product called Track Mat. And folks, while I'm talking through these, we didn't put up a lot of images for this type of product because we didn't want it to be overwhelming. But these are all items that you can talk to us about directly. We can give you samples of, we can come to the field to help you put the right products in place, do some training on it, and go from there. But we have a product called the Track Mat, which is actually used in the railroad industry, but has been evolving into the utility industry because it has a UV inhibitor cover stock on it that helps it stop degrading quickly. So these are used in areas where ground mounted transformers could be in place to help maintain the drips and leaks and periodically change over periods of months and possibly even years in some cases. So a lot of different products that we manufacture that are used, but when you look at it, it's very basic: absorbent pads, socks, and rolls in some cases. And in this photo, you're going to see from the overhead, this is a little difficult to see, but this is an area where they're working on a transformer that is leaking, and they're going to take it down and contain it. Storm damage cleanup, folks, very important, because I know there's plans in place, especially with utility companies, to have product on hand to respond to storms. A lot of times what we find is companies plan out their purchasing, plan out their inventory, and then they don't build stock to respond to events that could occur. So around storm season like we're in now, I think we're actually seeing a storm not hitting, but affecting the East Coast. And these are areas where you want to probably bulk up on some of your products that you use, like pads, socks, and boom, to keep your areas, your waterways clean and safe. We also have a product called the transformer bag. And this product is used to transport damaged transformers, maybe transformers that are leaking, or maybe just transformers for regular maintenance. But we usually see these sell through more in, hurricane season. And again, it's a bag. It has, we're going to show you a picture in a minute, but it has a reinforced shell. It also has absorbent pads in the bottom to help absorb whatever oil's coming out of the transformer. So you see these used heavily in storm season to move transformers around that are leaking. Folks, in this photo here, you're going to see one of our transformer bags. Again, just a corded bag, very, very hard shell, very difficult to tear. We make it in multiple sizes from a 4080 to a 6090 into a base transformer model. The best, or the not best, but the most common product we sell out of here would be the 4080 for standard size transformers. And again, it's used to contain a leaky transformer and be able to transport it to an area where it can be replaced or fixed. And it prevents leaks from, happening along the way. So a good secondary containment product. Transportation, very large category here in the US. I'd say if you think about the fleet on the road, 95% of the fleet the last time I looked was leased. And most of the companies that handle these leases, like a Ryder or Penske, require a certain amount of insurance, obviously, on the fleet, and they require all their fleets to have a spill kit. And folks, when we talk about vehicular spill kits, we're talking about a very small spill kit here, maybe the size of a pillowcase that has a handful of pads, a few socks, and maybe some bags to contain the used material. Over the years, the vehicle specs and transportation requirements have been changing. And as regulations became more strict, spill controls become a bigger part of this category. And in the area of risk mitigation, a lot of companies out there, manufacturers of vehicles, have found ways to lighten the weights of the trucks or the engine part of the truck, the cab, to allow for more payload, to carry more cargo, and to make it more economical. One area that's been affected majorly is the fuel tanks on these vehicles. A lot of times now are aluminum over steel. And what we've seen over the years is, as transportation companies are moving along, going over roads or maybe secondary roads, there's always a case where a truck will pick up a sharp rock. It'll kick up into the fuel tank, maybe create a small hole and cause a leak. This is where 15 or 20 years ago, companies started putting a small spill kit for the driver to at least get the process started. But it's become very common across the transportation industry, including school buses, police cars, ambulances, to have a small spill kit aboard for any kind of possible small fuel or maybe chemical leak. So again, the smaller kits, and you're seeing in this picture, this is a great picture Kevin found of a forklift truck. If you think about it, even in a distribution operation, forklifts can cause a lot of damage, folks, when they're coming around the corner too fast and maybe hit a drum, cause a leak. You want to have something there quickly so you could start the process to clean it up. So what we call a truck size or a small spill kit, you'll find on a lot of vehicles that have four wheels. We'll leave it at that. But medium kits, again, we have larger kits that are used for more, equipment moving in terminals and things like that. Larger kits for warehouses, garages, and service centers. So we have a multitude of different kits out there, folks. If you're talking to your distributor partner, ask them about spill kits for the transportation industry. They're going to drive you to a truck size spill kit, which will lead into other kits that you may use around your operation. Kind of reiterating, folks, how sorbents help. Again, any fluid or oil used in operations has the possibility of leaking, right? There's always an equipment leak. There could be some overspray in cases where there's vehicles, or possibly even in the utility industry, transformers. Overspray is when the fluid is under pressure and it blows out rather than just leaking. So as an example, if a transformer on a pole popped and that oil started to spray out, it's going to cover a very large area because it's much higher. So it's kind of has that umbrella effect or a rain down effect, and it gets on a large area. It's always good to have sorbents there to help cleaning that up. Repair and maintenance, folks, any repair and maintenance shop that you may have, you're going to have some sort of spill control program or need for absorbent. again, talk to your distributor contacts for information on the products. Indoor and outdoor storage, folks, where you're looking around your facilities, you may have on-site fuel, lubricants. There could be a lubricant station that has oils, coolants. It may even have windshield washer fluid, things like that, that you need to have spill control, containment, or maybe even spill kit in place for. And lastly, folks, in the most common or everyday thing, it's just compliance requirements. There's compliance requirements around spill control. We didn't list specific ones here because depending on where you are and what state you are, they could differ. So again, just check your local regulations for how you should contain and maintain your fluids and respond to spills, and you can build your plan off of that. The last vertical, folks, would be public service. So some areas in public service that we talk about would be highway or road work, public transportation, water and waste treatment, public services like schools and hospitals. And, we're kind of touching on a few of these things as we've come through this. They all kind of tie back into the same thing, and it's the need to have spill control products on hand for any kind of leak. So, folks, I talk about this, and you may be in the sector, but highway and road work, I travel a lot, and I travel nearly 4 days a week. I don't know that there's a highway in the United States that doesn't have some sort of construction happening right now. And quite frequently when I'm sitting in traffic, I'm looking at the areas where there's heavy equipment and to see if they have any spill control products on hand. And a lot of times you're going to see the spill kits and boom and pads standing ready in case of something like this here on the left, where we have a backhoe working in an area near water. Obviously, you'd want to have some sort of spill control product in place for this. So again, folks, if you're in that area and you're working heavy construction, check your spill control requirements and make sure you have the right products on hand. We do a lot, folks, within public transportation or mass transit, whether it be bus or rail or even airline. Very, very large users, high profile users, needs to be plans in place. And there's a lot of volume of pads and boom that go into this sector, including spill kits. Again, folks, if you're in these areas, these are things you want to think about. Probably not very high on the list. It doesn't always take precedent until something happens. Water and waste treatment. Again, these are more municipal departments that we see a lot of spill control going into. And then certainly public services like schools and hospitals. I don't know of a school that I've been in that I haven't seen a spill kit or two, along with a plan of how to respond to a spill, especially around a lab like a science lab or something like that. And I'm not just talking elementary to middle and high school. I'm talking universities and collegiate level where there could be opportunities for major spills. And of course, folks, hospitals, if you're in hospitals, these are certainly areas where there's a lot of labs and things like that. So if you're working in these areas, folks, just remember to check your spill control products and plans. And if you need help with that, contact your distributor, who will likely contact us, and we'll come out and help you put it together. Folks, just a little bit of education on the product itself. And this is kind of a lot to go through in an hour. And we didn't want to get too far into the product portion of it, but more of the application and give you some ideas of where you can go. But just simple things when you're looking for the right absorbent, choosing absorbents for your application. The first thing would be to determine the type of liquid that's being absorbed, whether it be a first hazardous or non-hazardous, or maybe a oil-based versus water-based, or a combination of both. So oils, coolants, solvents, and water, you would want to use a universal product or a gray product. Gray usually symbolizes universal. Oil only, meaning maybe you're outside and you're only worried about picking up oil-based products and letting water-based or water flow by or over. You'd go with an oil only or a white product, and blue in some cases. Chemicals, aggressive, acids, bases, unknown liquids. hazmat. And in our case, our hazmat product is green or yellow. It is universal, does the same thing as a gray, but a lot of times, folks, if you're in an area, maybe it's a hospital and you want to signify that these are chemicals or maybe something we should stay away from, not just because we could slip and fall, but because of respiratory issues or whatever, color code it. That's something we can help you with. Secondly, you want to identify the application. So it could be a transformer or other damaged equipment like a backhoe or something like that, or maybe a small piece of equipment that's leaking. A transformer bag or spill kit might be called for, and it may be used to absorb and contain. Protecting waterways, oil-only product like booms and pads, and we have a product called spiltration that's actually allows water to flow through but contains the oil. It's pretty specific. Emergency spill response, spill containment, and spill kits. What we say generally in our business is, there's the regular maintenance, and then there's the response. And the call could be coming from the same person that handles both. But when it's a response, something bad just happened, you want to have spill kits on hand along with your regular maintenance sorbents to be able to respond to things that happen that are, not the norm, like a hydraulic line going, or maybe a piece of equipment falling over and leaking or something like that. Again, folks, and then determine the amount of liquid to be absorbed or contained, right? Is it a lightweight application, a small, medium, or large? So small to us would be lightweight product, medium, maybe medium weight or heavyweight. So folks, really simple stuff here. And this is really self-explanatory as you get into thinking about this product category and the applications within your operation more frequently. It becomes very basic, but we're certainly here to answer questions and to help you make the right decisions through your distributor partners. Folks, I use this as a tool to help train our distributor partner salespeople, but it's also good for the end user to know who's making the decisions on this, because a lot of times it kind of comes up and it's not talked about that frequently. And you could be running around in a situation where, like, well, who's going to make the call on this? Or, who do we need to go to? Usually when it has to do with leaks, spills, containment, it's going to be an environmental manager, maybe a safety director, could be somebody in operations. Could be a regulatory officer within your business, depending on the type of business you are. It could be field supervisors. It could be higher level operating officers if it's very high profile. That's something we mentioned. And, a lot of this has to do with the utility market. And not only is it tragic when these spills occur, but there is certainly a need first to protect people, but then to protect the environment. And in doing so, our product comes hand in hand. So with that, I'm about at a half an hour, and I think this is a good time to stop and to let you know that you can feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is here, or reach out to your AD distributor partner. A lot of these folks have direct contact with us. We work with just about everybody in that group, and we'd be happy to come out and do some surveys for you and help you make some decisions around the category. With that, I'm going to wrap it up, and thank you, Samantha, and thank Kevin for helping me put this together.
Perfect. Yeah, I encourage everyone to jot down the number and the email that you see on your screen there. Make sure you're reaching out to Scott, or as he said, the AD distributor near you, to make sure that you're getting all of your safety needs met. But Scott, with that said, is there anything else you want our audience to take away or keep top of mind so that they can, again, stay safe on the go or on the job site?
Yeah, Samantha, thanks. It's something I think about a lot, because this product category, and we manufacture the product. I've been in this category for the last 20 years, and I found that it's not thought of like, if you're a distributor, you're not thinking about absorbents or spill control the first thing out of the gate, but end users don't either. It's something that comes up that's just happening kind of in the background. There's some regular maintenance happening, whether it be in a, like we said earlier, a factory or a utility company or whatever. It's when something happens and there's a response need that becomes higher profile. And sometimes that's where we find it becomes a little bit chaotic. People forget where they need to go for it, who to call, what to do. So these are things that we can kind of help ease that pain if you get us involved a little bit. I'm not saying after the fact or right after the fact, but prior to maybe a once a year where you maybe work with your AD partner to help build a plan, maybe bring us in to do some discussion around how to respond to a spill or a crisis, maybe a storm response or how to prepare. And we can help you with that. It kind of keeps it more at the forefront. And when it's time, you'll have that information, you'll remember it, or you'll have a small plan designed to help kind of ease the chaos. I think that's the best way to put it, Samantha.
Fantastic. Well, as always, Scott, we love your insight and we love the support from Meltblown Technologies as well as AD. So, huge shout out to both of you for being here today. And of course, I want to thank all of our dedicated safety professionals because without them, none of this would be possible. So, I want to give you a huge shout out again. And again, take down that number, take down that email address, and reach out. Make sure that you're keeping each other safe. So, thanks again. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.